First, my keys were stolen. A harmless misdemeanor, which forced me to break the lock on my guitar case. The key was stolen to retrieve the cocoon from the guitar. I see. But things didn't go so well. The smuggler wasn't counting on the guitar being wrapped. Only a member of the band could get near that case, and wrapping the guitar would raise too many suspicions. Then the concert began. Right about this time, a very large problem presented itself to the smuggler. What's that? Mr. Latrous. Ah! Mr. Latrous, an undercover agent, was onto something. He would have known about the guitar. He only had to check the shipping records. So, Mr. Latrous tried to examine the guitar himself. If the cocoon were confiscated, then the gig would be up. The only thing left for the smuggler to do was to get rid of the whole lot. It's over. Press the switch, now. The guitar burst into flames, and the cocoon was lost. And then Mr. Latrous died, with Lemieux there to witness it. There's your case. Brilliant, man. Detective Crescent? I gotta know. You make all that up on the fly? Well, a made-up story. Makes a great deal of sense, dearie. Republic of Bulgaria? Sorry, man. I haven't even been there. True, you haven't. Let's see you make up a story for that, kid. How'd I hide the cocoon in the first place, huh? It's not so hard to imagine. You had help, a Bulgarian accomplice. That's all. That you had an accomplice was clear from the start. The voice Lemieux heard proves it. It's over. Press the switch now. You made this transmission from backstage. Well, your co-conspirator was on stage. But who was it? He said, Coupe de Grey. And for once, I know what I'm doing. There's only one person who could have helped him. Let's hear what Mr. Justice has to say then. But be warned. With great accusation comes great responsibility. Make up your answer on the fly, as it were, and you'll be harshly penalized. Are you ready, Mr. Justice? Who was the smuggler's accomplice? There's only one person who meets all the requirements of the accomplice, and that person is the defendant, Marty Tobai! But Mr. Justice, he's your client. An defense attorney accusing his client? That's a new one. I'm sure you know one is more unhappy about this than I. But I'm here to defend him in the murder of Mr. Latrous. I stand by my statement earlier that he is innocent of that particular crime. Indeed, the defendant is Bulgarian. He does meet the basic requirements to be the accomplice. But what if it were, in fact, Lemieux? Couldn't have been. Well, you seem sure of yourself. The reason is electronic signals, Your Honor. Electronic signals? Recall that this remote only works for winds of 30 feet. Beyond that, it's useless. Yes, that's true. Now, think back to the testimony. When the shooter made his transmission, Lemieux was in the air vent, right above the dressing room where the shooter stood. Let's look at the stage diagram. This is the area that the remote could reach from the air vent. Well, looking at this, it seems that Lemieux still could have done the deed. No. When the shooter made that transmission, the stage was slightly different than shown here. It was in the middle of the guitar Serenade. Part of the stage was raised. Prosecutor Galvin and Lemieux standing were in the air. They were on a tower which happens to be 15 feet tall. In other words, The remote couldn't have worked from Lemila's position in the air vent. Ha! Well, Detective Crescent, what do you say to that? Your Honor. Yes, Detective? Can we see the video of Gavin's guitar buns? Just one more time? Ah, well, I don't see why not. What? Don't tell me he has a way out of this! Too bad, so sad. Punk. Punk? First you were sleeves, then kid, now punk. You're losing weight fast, Apollo. What exactly were we supposed to see in this video? The problem wasn't in what we see, correct, alien? Right, that's what you're here. We're musicians after all. Care to explain for us non-musicians? So thing, punk. Let me get your yarn straight first. You're saying I ordered the 3 pianists to set off that igniter? That right? Yes? Well, in order to do that, he'd have to press a switch. Am I right? Okay. Well, take another listen. Pay attention to the piano. Piano? What seems to be the problem there? The piano sounded just fine. And that's the problem, man. You still don't get it? Yeah, how's he supposed to hit that switch if he's playing? You got Miss Diva, the guitar, the bass, the piano, and the drums. The only one with 4 hands free was the Diva. Mila! According to you, she couldn't have been the accomplice, could she? Your accomplice would have had a hard time helping out. They couldn't even press a switch. Plays non-stop. He couldn't have pressed that switch. Well, Mr. Justice, the piano does seem to be playing when the guitar catches fire. Well, it's okay. We all make mistakes sometime. Apollo, were you wrong? I can't be wrong. Everything makes perfect sense. How could it all just... Strange. What's strange? No, it's just... Something's odd about the performance there. Odd? Mr. Justice, if Marty Tobai didn't press that switch, then he could not be the accomplice you claim he is. But everything points to it. Every fact says he's the accomplice. You got the facts wrong, man. Here's some facts for you. Gavin's guitar's on fire. The pianist didn't press that switch. In other words, your story is full of holes. Mr. Justice, let's hear your final opinion on this matter now. Was the defendant Marty Tobai the accomplice? Your answer will reflect on everything you've said. Give it some thought. Oh, Marty's not the accomplice. And our whole case is ruined. I know that. It has to be him. The smuggler. I tried to press that switch. Well, You better find a way to prove it. What do I do? Has to be something that doesn't fit. Something odd. Something odd. Wait a second. What? You thought of something? What was Gavin saying just now? Strange. What's strange? No, it's just something's odd about the performance there. Not much to go on, but it's all I've got. What exactly did he hear that was odd? Come up with something, Mr. Justice. A reminder that everything rests on this. Can you prove Machi Tobai pressed that switch? Let's hear your final answer. Can you prove that Machi Tobai pressed that switch? I don't know if you call this proof per se, but I can prove it was possible. Then, as prosecutor, force me to ask you to show us this evidence supporting this. Oh, forehead. You sure about this? Accept it. There's no evidence, man. Let's see your evidence, Mr. Justice. On what do you base your claim that the defendant pressed the switch? Take that! The basis for my claim is music, Your Honor. Music? What about music? Let's listen to the piano part around the time when the switch was to be pressed. Right before the guitar burst into flame. I hear a piano being played. But, doesn't that sound kind of simple? Simple? I think I know what he's suggesting. You think Martin could have played that part with one hand? One hand? He only needed one hand to press that switch. He could play the piano with the other. What? So you're some kind of piano savant? Actually, no. What do you know? You can't play a part like that with one hand. Maybe. I don't know what I'm talking about here. Wait! I know. Hey, Trucy! Yeah? You got something? Mr. White, your father, he's a pianist. Could he... Oh, Daddy? He couldn't play a part like that even if he had 3 hands. So sorry. So sad for you. No, not really. That was just the easy way to prove it. There's always the hard way. Man, how are you going to prove whether he played it with one hand or 2? You can't. I admit, it will be rather difficult to prove. But it's highly likely he was playing with one hand. How do you know that? The clue is what Prosecutor Gavin described as sounding odd. What's sounding odd? I bet we can tell by listening to a certain part of the song. No. No way. Let's see if you've come to the moment of truth at last. Let's hear what Mr. Justice has to say for himself. Show us the part that proves the defendant was playing with one hand. Right before the guitar burst into flame. Marty was definitely playing one-handed just before the guitar caught fire. And one section of the song proves it. Prosecutor Gavin, I'm sure you realize by now just what it was that sounded odd to you. As I'm sure you've realized it yourself, little forehead. Realized what? I'll demonstrate. Let's listen to the part in question again, shall we? Pay particular attention to the but a fleeting melody phrase. Man. How many times do we have to listen to that same thing? You know what? Enough of that. Let's listen to another section, Sally. Another section? The guitar bursts into flame at the end of the second verse. Let's listen to the same spot in the first verse. Pay attention to "Oh, that night in your embrace." Play verse 2 again. There, did you hear that? They feel the same, true, but they're clearly very different. What? Well put, Your Honor. The phrase in verse 2 is quite simple, but the same phrase in verse 1 has high and low notes. You have to use 2 hands to play that for sure. What's that proof? I would think you'd know that by now. This is why I hate dealing with amateurs, man. So the 2 verses have different arrangements. Happens all the time. But this time, Dilly, there's no point in changing an arrangement if you can't hear it clearly. That wasn't the point. I had them play specifically so that piano would stay in the background. No. That was what I noticed. Why should the same phrase sound slightly different? I asked myself. Now ask yourself why Machi changed how he played. And there's only one answer. He needed a free hand in order to press the switch. No. Order. I believe this ties all the facts together. Well, Prosecutor Gavin? Yes, quite. Though personally, this comes as a terrible disappointment. What? No comeback? I can't believe it. I finally did it. I shut him up. Very well. Barring an objection from the prosecution, I will now state the court's opinion on this matter. Good show, Sleeves. No, great show. It's not over. I don't like it when he looks so happy. Tell him, Gavin. Tell him what's so disappointing. Personally, I'm totally disappointed. And you, little forehead? Huh? Me? Yes, don't get me wrong, your case is solid. The facts all checked out, but even now, you have yet to show us a single piece of decisive evidence. Yeah, the facts. Anyone can see it was him. Unfortunately, anyone does not include the law. I'm afraid your case doesn't cut it. But... 1,000 facts might point towards the same conclusion. But without decisive evidence, it's not proof. That's the rule under our current legal system. I don't believe it. It does not seem as though the defense has any more evidence to present. Oh, I think if he did, we already would have seen it a long ways back. It is unfortunate. At present, this court is unable to acknowledge your accusation. What? Truth is staring us all right in the face. Why can't they see it? What's the point of a legal system that protects criminals? Hollow, remember what Daddy said? It won't be easy proving he did it. Especially not under the current court system. So what do I do? Like I said, good luck. Be aware that it would be impossible to prove his guilt by conventional methods. Every man has an igniter inside him. Find daring questions, igniter, and set it off. I wonder what he meant by every man's igniter. I think he just had a weak spot, no? Kind of thing that a single spot could turn into a wildfire of emotions. I'll be able to press him further by conventional means. I have to find a weak spot in this guy. Something fatal. So, can I get back to work now or what? It may look like I got a lot of time on my hands, but I got no more time to play pretend with this deadweight attorney. Well, Mr. Justice, come this far without decisive evidence. This witness will be coming back to the stand once we let him go. Every man has an igniter. Didn't you say the better the guitar, the brighter it burns, Prosecutor Gavin? Yes. Good guitars are kept dry, is right. That provides the best sound. Even a small spark could cause irreparable damage. Your plan has an igniter in it, too, Detective. It was there from the very beginning. What? Biding time, Justice. If you blow this one, it'll be out of your hands for good. Go for it, Apollo. What? And this igniter's supposed to come burn me up? That's almost poetic there, Mr. Attorney. All the better. Another father poetry. And I intend to hear this one through to the very end. Little forehead. You're accusing this man, Darian Cross, and of 2 crimes. The murder of Mr. Trust and the smuggling of a Burgundian cocoon. This is your last chance to prove your case. This trial has already gone on for far too long. Mr. Justice, this will be my very last warning. The moment this igniter of yours turns out to be a dud is the moment this cross-examination ends. Understood? Yes, Your Honor. Let's have it. Show us the basis for these accusations against Darian Crescent. Okay, this is really my last chance. The key that would take apart Darian Crescent's plan is... Your igniter isn't a piece of evidence. Huh? So what is? It is true that I couldn't show decisive evidence. But perhaps what I need to prove my case was something else. You mean a witness? Proving his guilt is a tall order. But I've got just the person to do it. Very well, Mr. Justice. Who is this person who can prove Darian Crescent's guilt? Take that! The one person who can prove Darian Crescent's guilt is the defendant Marty Tobai. Your client again? Marty Tobai was an accomplice to the cocoon smuggling plot. Without him, Darian Crescent could not have gotten the cocoon. Furthermore, he could easily prove that the one who tried to smuggle that cocoon was the real criminal in this case. How so? It will require just one of the very cocoons Mr. Trust was looking for. With the cooperation of the Republic of Virginia, we could burn a cocoon. The burnt cocoon would leave a particular residue. A residue we would no doubt also find inside the burnt out guitar. Ah, very scientific of you. Thus, if Marty Tobai acknowledges his agreement with Darian Crescent concerning the attempted smuggling of a Burgundian cocoon, the case is solved. Darian's laughing again. Your unrelenting passion is remarkable. You really want to get me, don't you? Too bad you'll never be able to. Why not? The little key tickler won't acknowledge anything. person had anything to do with cocoon smuggling. What's this all about? Taking a cocoon out of the country means death by Bulgarian law. Yeah, see? If our pianist really was a smuggler, then testifying about it would be suicide. Believe me, he's not talking. But you're wrong, Detective Crescent. What? It's the other way around. If Marty doesn't admit to smuggling here, he's in deep trouble. Huh? Ow. Look, if Marty admits to smuggling here, then he'll be tried in our courts by our laws. You don't get the death penalty for smuggling in our country. The victim in this case was an undercover Interpol agent. I'm sure that news has already reached Bulgaria. And they'll likely broadcast our dealings in court today, including the part about the Bulgarian cocoon. Yeah, but if Marty doesn't admit to smuggling now, he'll eventually be picked up by the Bulgarian police. It's not like he's in any danger in our court. We're not going to find him guilty of murder here. Not now. Yeah, but you can't do this. You can't accuse me. Maybe the law doesn't allow it. But who's going to think you're really innocent after hearing this trial? The same goes for Marty Tobai. The cocoon smuggling your entire plan. Marty Tobai knows everything. There's only one way out of it for him, and that's to acknowledge his own crime. The crime of cocoon smuggling! Don't worry there. I'll get you out of the country. I'll set you up someplace. Hey, Manson. Real nice. You want a house made out of cookies, or no, a house made out of pianos? Come on. Please, don't take. Ah! Darian, I consider that's my last session with you. We walked. I'm guessing we can treat that apples as a confession? Uh-oh, he's laughing again. There's a kind of sick desperation in it now, though. Well, have you been listening to today's trial? Yes. And you'll talk. You tell this court everything. I don't want it to turn out this way, but I'm not the kind of lawyer that can overlook a crime. Today's trial was all for your benefits, you know? There's no reason why you should hesitate now. I knew. From the beginning, I knew. Machi. Situation I cannot explain, but money. I need it. Very much money. Today's trial. This is a delicate issue of our legal system. One thing definitive in a court of law is evidence. This is the golden rule. However, it has become apparent that not all things can be tried by this standard. So another case of this sort surface. We must have to consider an alternate system by which to administer justice. Anyway, Mr. Machi Tobai. Yes, I promise you will receive a fair trial by our laws of our country. And with regards to the current charges for the murder of Mr. Latrose, this court is prepared to announce a verdict. I thank you. I won't lie. truth. You find the truth. That's our job. Very well. This court finds the defendant, Machi Tobai, not guilty. Court is adjourned. I wonder what happened to Machi. Well, he did smuggle a cocoon out of Bulgaria. I guess there'll be another trial here. All's well that ends well. Daddy! I owe you both my thanks. Amira! Why? Is something wrong? I'm sorry. Machi was your partner on stage. Your friend. Yes, I thought of him as my own son. Even now I do. Yet, something got a hold of him. Something evil. I see that. He must pay for what he has done. Is that not how it should be? I'm so sorry. Not to be sorry. You have given me courage. Courage? I'm considering an eye operation. That's my suggestion, actually. You mean you'll be able to see again? It's funny. I've always been afraid of the light. Light seems so harsh, so unforgiving. According to the doctor, Neil lost his sight due to some kind of accident. An accident? As you know, I suffer from amnesia. I fear that if I can see, perhaps it would open my eyes to the truth I've been running from. I was scared. You know what changed her mind? Being in the fencing there today. She could feel your gaze, unwavering, always looking straight at the truth. The light returns to my eyes. I think I would take up painting. Painting? That's right. She's a landscape painter and sound after all. I will paint the two of you. I promise. Ooh, I can't wait, Namila. I owe you my thanks too, Apollo. Thanks, Mr. White. But for what? You reminded me I need to hurry things along. On my secret mission, that is. Right, your secret mission. Apollo, Lucy, I hope that we will meet again someday soon. You bet! Me too! And so, like a ballad, the trial flowered on and on. Flowed on and on until it came to an end. Next to the trial, the guitar Serenade was a huge hit. Prosecutor Gavin's even more dazzling to look at now. But there's something I wanted to say to that guy. Next time you write a ballad, have them catch the killer at the end.